Hi there, welcome to Serpent Bird Activation in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm with Andrew Pisher, the Green Man.
Hello.
So we're gonna ask a few questions. Well, today we're sitting by this amazing tree.
Yeah, it's a Chilean Palo Verde. So we have a lot of Palo Verde trees here, a few different kind of species in the Phoenix area, and these ones are actually native to Chile. So they have a different kind of bark. They do the same kind of cool, winding, gnarly branches, but they also have this bark that kind of peels off like paper, and I think that dimension really adds something to the tree. I like it a lot. So maybe you guys got educated on a new tree today.
So tell us more about what you do in the community with the Community Reserve and barter.
Okay, so last year I was starting up a website called Farmers Market on Demand because there's a need for people in the city of Phoenix, at least. I'm pretty sure it's a worldwide thing, but these people that are passionate about certain things, they have like certain skills, or they create certain crafts, or they grow certain foods, or they make medicines, and I started seeing them all interacting with each other and selling to each other, and I started getting involved. I'm like, oh cool, I want to barter my stuff and trade and do things like that. And because we have seed exchanges, they have veggie swaps, and I do moringa is my big thing.
Where was this again? In the Phoenix area? Okay.
Yeah, all of Phoenix. So
right.
The thing about Phoenix is it's very spread out. So there's people that live, there's like 11 cities, and all the people from those 11 cities get together and do things. So they can end up being an hour and a half from each other and still like in a city setting. So it's all urban, and these people were trying to buy and trade with each other, which is very difficult because if you have to drive an hour and a half and somebody's a half an hour late, now you just lost 2 hours and you still got to drive an hour and a half back. So
okay.
I was trying to find a way for people to be able to exchange without having to meet with each other to give money and things like that. So that's where I was going with it. And then I took the permaculture design course and I just realized like the importance of how we can just create our own currency for these people so we can barter amongst each other without having to, get the banks involved and things like that.
So where can they find the Community Reserve now, online, or do you have to be pretty much in the Phoenix area to be a part of it?
Oh yeah, for now. Actually, if you're into digital goods, if you make videos, like training videos, like whether it's like a yoga practice or you do audio files or write ebooks, we'd love to have digital goods on there. We have a couple people that do offer stuff like that. Like we have someone that does social media services. We have someone that can teach you how to edit videos. We have a lot of different services that you can use that you don't have to meet face to face anymore, because we have Skype and we have all these sharing devices that we can both sit at a computer,
right,
have a meeting, and get things done. So you can find us at www.thecommunityreserve.com. We have a Facebook page, The Community Reserve. We have a YouTube channel, and we're working on getting a LinkedIn business page.
All right. So since you're into permaculture, I have this current topic that I wanted to ask you about. Have you heard of the TPP?
Oh yeah,
yes.
The trade.
So do you think that when we go forward with our permaculture projects that they're going to try to shut us down with permaculture because they may say, oh, well, what you guys are doing is hurting our profits?
Yeah, I think that's the whole idea behind it. I just don't understand how they could possibly enforce it. And I'm pretty sure, because they've done stuff like this in the past, and I'm pretty sure the people, if they stand up in time to stop it, if you see your neighbor getting harassed about things like that, then we need to come together as a community. And that's really why, another reason I started the Community Reserve, so we have tighter bonds, because if we trade with each other, then we know that we can always go to that one person for a certain service, no matter what happens. If the whole country goes down the tubes and the dollar is not worth anything, you have that tight-knit tribe of people that you work with your village, and you can come together and support each other. And that's another avenue that helps out with the Community Reserve. Like, we just want to build a community. It's not really just about exchanging goods and services, it's about exchanging a lifestyle.
Right on. And that's why I wanted to do an interview and come down to Phoenix with Andrew, is that he thinks in a very global way, in an activism kind of mind frame. So yeah, I was really interested with all the different mini projects you're involved with tree. Is it tree trimming?
Yeah, well, it's tree care.
Care.
The company's called Treelation, and it's about educating people about our relationship with trees. That's why it's Treelation. And so we go out, we are like an advocate for trees. We go out and we try to stop people from removing a tree if it's in good health. They might say, oh, I just bought this house, this tree's like in my way of this view, and things like that. And we'll explain to them the importance of the tree, what it's really doing for them in their yard, and educate them so they can make a better decision. And usually we talk them out of taking the tree out.
So do you ever feel overwhelmed with the amount of negativity or negative impacts that happen in our environment? And is that, so when you're working on your different efforts with gardening and things like that, I shouldn't say gardening, but all the different projects you're working on, does that feel like you're kind of a drop in the bucket? Do you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna like really make an impact or make a difference? Like, how do you work with your own psychology when it comes to that?
It used to be that way, yeah. And that when I was 25, I did what I called hitting rock bottom, and I was doing things that I thought were giving me joy and happiness, but after I hit rock bottom, I realized I wasn't happy because I wouldn't have hit rock bottom. Because when you're happy, you're empowered. You go out there, you change the world, you make things happen that you want to happen. You're one with your desires. And when I realized I wasn't one with my desires and I've been lying to myself the whole time, that's when I really realized that all that negativity out there, it's just that. It's out there. It's not really happening to you. And if it is happening to you, then that's just a way for the universe to say, hey, this is your opportunity to make a change here. So that's like my call. And I just believe the earth is always going to regenerate itself. That's what it's all about. Anything nature is all about regeneration. It's about self-perpetuating. You take one seed, put it in the ground, the plant grows, it flowers, it gets pollinated, and now you have thousands of seeds. So now you can take that, if you help nature along, you can make every single one of those 1,000 seeds. That's what I think we're here for, to tend to those thousands of seeds, so that, because in nature, in a natural setting like this tree can drop millions of seeds, and maybe one might make it. But if we stand in, we can take those seeds and nurture them and be a steward, and we can make all of them grow. So that's what I think we can do here on the planet. And if we could just take one tree's amount of seeds and be able to replant them everywhere all at once, that's huge. It can grow exponentially, and the healing process can happen. Like even my finger, for a little while it struggles. Yeah, it's a bad cut. And for a few days I was a little worried, like, okay, I don't know if my herbal remedies are working or not. And then once it started the healing process, it really caught ground. It's healing exponentially, like every day, significantly different. And that's what nature does. That's the nature of things.
And I also wanted to mention that you're working with kids, which is almost like working with the seed, because if we help kids, then that's a good place, because they're kind of better open-minded people to even start with on these projects, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always had a heart for at-risk kids and at-risk teens, because I feel I kind of was one. I mean, I was. I mean, it's hard for me to admit it, but I did have, in my perception, a really rough childhood and a rough young adult years. And because I felt like if somebody else would have been there to help me along and to encourage me and to be behind me whenever I had like a passion I wanted to follow, I think I could have done a lot more a long time ago. But that's why I just want to be able to hopefully in some way be that for at least one kid. If I could just take one kid and encourage him to follow his passion, then that's really where it's at. And because that kid, if he takes what he has, then he can go and help the millions. I might not be able to help the millions, But if I can help that
But
one
you're
kid,
planting the seed, right?
yeah,
With the little ones.
doing my nurturing the best way I can.
So if people want to learn about permaculture, like I just noticed there's a really awesome workshop going on in LA, and I have a different career that I do, so I don't know if I have the time or the money to sign up for that workshop. I think it's about $3,000, or
Yeah.
I don't know if you get your whole certificate through it, but if people want to help at Starshine and learn about permaculture, is that going to be free if people want to step in and help, or how does that happen?
So that's the farmers market on demand idea. We were going to be part of it is offering workshops, and I've been doing workshops. I normally do them. I started out as free, and that's just because I wasn't confident about it, and I didn't know if people were really going to get value.
Oh yeah.
But after 3 workshops, and every single time at the end, people started tipping me because they felt they got a lot of value out of it. I decided to start doing them as a donation base. And so some people, what I found with that is people want to take it, they don't feel they have anything to give, so they don't show up. So they don't come.
Okay.
Even though they know they don't have to pay, they still won't because they feel like they want to give something. So that's another reason why I started the Community Reserve. Because they can come and pay for a ticket, learn a new skill, and then they can either use that skill they learned or another skill that they enjoy doing to pay it back later. So instead of having to go and find out how am I going to get, like you said, for the permaculture, how am I going to get $3,000 and get the time, like how can I commit to this?
Yeah.
And what we're doing is we're tearing down that whole barrier of money, the financial barrier that people have, and it's getting worse. That's a whole different topic, but I just want to tear down that wall that says that you can't take this class because you're not economically viable.
Right. So I think that it's safe to say that if people want to get involved with permaculture, that maybe they could contact you if they just kind of like are starting out and they need to ask questions.
Yeah. So I'm not like fully certified to teach permaculture, but we do. What I was taught in permaculture is there's a permaculture tree. So you have a tree. The tree has a trunk and roots. The roots are the foundation of the tree. So the roots have to be intact, but that's not where I'm going with this. So you need the trunk, and then you got branches, and then those branches go off into secondary branches, and then you have twigs. And what we're going to do is work with little twigs of permaculture. So we're just going to teach people gardening, herbalism, self-empowerment, being able to find your strength, uncover your desires within, just things that go after people care, planet care, and fair share type ethics. And we're going to do little by little smaller workshops, whether an hour or 2, so you don't have to go all in and you can test the waters. And then we have more advanced, and then more advanced and more advanced. Now obviously the more advanced they get, the more barter money they're going to cost. But as you're developing through, you're learning the skills that you can use to create barter money. So you see,
all right.
Yeah, you start, you go, oh, I took this class, and you get it, and then you go, oh, now I can offer this to the group. So that's what we do. We can almost kind of certify you in little skills that as you go, and help support you along your way into entrepreneurism, because that's what people want to be. Yes. They want to work for themselves. They don't want to work for somebody else at a desk. And if they feel sick one day, they can't call in sick because they already did 3 times that year. I think that's just like shooting your people in the foot.
So is there anything you want to add to close with?
I really don't know. I'm really good at answering.
Kind of an open-ended, but
I'm really good at answering questions.
All right.
But one thing I do want to say is that my whole purpose is I want to see beautification and unification around me. Those are my 2 biggest things. Those are my core values. So I do everything from a place of how can this thing that most people don't see as beautiful, but I can see it, how can I help amplify that beauty, and get other people to see it, and then use that beauty to unify people, because now they're seeing something they never have before, and they're seeing it because somebody else's perspective.
And you're using a really practical method. I mean, we could get together and meditate together and do ceremony, which is also another aspect, the spiritual aspect, but you're very much more involved with like the language of nature and how different ecosystems work together.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about finding the connections and nurturing the connections so that they grow, creating more connections and more elements that can create a structure of just strength, power, beauty, unification, love, peace, and all that stuff. So I took a Yoga Nidra certification course, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm going to be able to go out and heal everybody with Yoga Nidra. And it's great because it helps them balance their feminine and masculine energies and helps them, you know, just live a balanced life. But there's still external sources that people think have an effect on their life, no matter how much meditation you do, no matter how many workshops you do on like building your core strength. When you got that invisible structure of money that's holding you back from really living out your desire, and you think that it does have that power, it does. So I'm trying to free people, and I have been. I'm not trying, I guess I'm doing it.
You are, yeah.
But yeah, I'm just freeing
integrating
people
a
from that.
lot of different elements and ideas, and yeah, a lot.
Yeah, we're in bondage by money, and it's an illusion. You know, they're fake straps on our arms holding us to the wall, and we just want to break them off and let people help each other. That's one thing. I just want to be able to help you. If you wanted a Yoga Nidra session, I don't want to say, okay, great. What kind do you want? Here's how much they cost, 50, 75, $100, depending on what you want. I don't want to have to go through that. I want to say, yeah, let's go do it. And know that you're going to be able to reciprocate that same energy back to me sometime down the road when I need it from you.
Yeah, and then with the reserve though, it kind of goes in a different cross pattern, right?
Oh yeah, so I give you my energy, you give it to that person, you give it to that person, you give it to that person, and it just goes around, and it never leaves that community. It doesn't end up in the banks, it doesn't end up in the hands of the 1%, it doesn't end up in the corporations, it doesn't go towards environmental destruction, slave labor, corporate subsidies, any of that stuff. It stays in your community and gets bigger. The more people put in, the bigger the pot gets, the more capital is in there, more communal wealth.
So check out more about the Community Reserve online, and there's a lot of videos that Andrew's produced on his own on Facebook.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you so much. That was such a good one.
Thank you.
Awesome. Like and share.